Alright, welcome back. So, you guys basically had killed it on the last video. And this was about a week ago, a couple days shy, about 5 days ago, that I ripped the new FUNCO. And had a blast, don't get me wrong. Couple of things that I want to point out. Some people were talking about the battery packs and how long they last. You're going to have to expect that running in sand with paddle tires. You are literally the highest resistance and the most load that you can put on an RC of this size and this weight running in sand. It's kind of like running on water. RC Guy Garage likes to explain. He left a couple comments on it, and not only just the sand, if it was just a flat area, you know, we probably could have almost doubled that time. But because I'm running up sandy butt crack, as we like to call it, you're full throttle all the way up that hill. And then coming down, you're about half throttle coasting down that hill, and then you're just ripping all the way up that hill. Even the flat areas that you guys are seeing on camera from where the boat was and my car was, that's a consistent upgrade hill. And it gets very extreme. I know in camera you can't really see it, but that's what kills a battery pack. It's just digging in with those paddles, and it's a lot of load for any battery company, whether it was a Traxxas pack in there, which I'm not a Traxxas battery pack fan, but they'll work, you know, to what I was running. And that's why I picked up a higher mAh rating, so that my runtime would be a little bit higher and a little bit more reserved than those 5,000 packs. And the runtime was only, you know, probably 3 to 5 minutes more maximum. But just wanted to point that out, that you're gonna have to bring a lot of battery packs when you're running out in sand. I mean, down at the beach where there's a little moisture in the sand, it won't bury the RC as much. And I'm sure the reverse will work around the shoreline and water line to the beach. But it's just like when you walked, I don't know if you guys have ever been on the beach, but I'm sure a lot of you have. When you're trekking all your gear down to the beach, your towels, your blankets, all that stuff, and you got your flip-flops on, and you're walking through that heavy sand just to get to the shoreline, think about it. You're getting buried. A lot of people just pull off their flip-flops and walk barefooted because it's easier to balance, and you're not getting sand all up in your flip-flops or your whatever you're wearing. You're not getting sand inside your shoes, all that stuff. And then as you get closer to the water line, it's easier to walk. Your leg muscles aren't you know, sinking into the sand, and you're not digging for traction. It's more comfortable to walk at the shoreline at the beach. Same thing for the RC. The RC is going through that same thing. So you got to expect your battery packs not to last, you know, out there. So that's something normal. Doesn't bother me. The whole experience didn't bother me. So we're gonna get this off. Now I did break down this RC, and I saw a lot of comments where Traxxas made the notification that you have to, you know, disable your brakes to run in the sand. Personal opinion, I feel if you're building a sand car and brakes don't work on the sand, then don't put them on the RC. You know, if you got to disable them to go run in the sand with something that's built for the sand, man, you shouldn't have them on there. Just to be clear, that wasn't the issue with this RC. It wasn't the brakes dragging. It was something else. I got this one working pretty decent when I tore it down. And this side, I don't have the brakes disabled. This side, I'm having a lot of issues with, and both sides have the same issue. And here's that slug people were talking about. Traxxas says, you pull the pin right here, flip up this lever right here, and you pull this little thing out, and then you put your screw back in. Put this back in, and there's nothing to depress this caliper because this is not in there anymore. Regardless if this is in there and not, the way I have it adjusted here, some people were saying, well, this is only how much pressure it's putting on there. Yes and no. It's pushing the shaft away, and it's not pulling the shaft closer. So this is connected right here, and this is what is supposed to slide, and it doesn't slide very well. It actually sticks. You can see it sticks there. You can see when I push it back, it sticks over there. It's plastic, and it's got to slide on this little shaft right here. So, and then it gets kinked, I notice as well. So this is probably going to need some Cal RC stuff, maybe some silicone spray inside the brake lines to stop all this from happening. But that still wasn't my issue. If you look at this brake rotor, you can see where the sand was rubbing in between the pad and the disc. It took the finish off right away. Nice thing is, we know that this is the first run. This is not from previous runs. This isn't from me running it on any kind of ground or grass or any of that. This was all sand, and it's coarse there, you know, and that's because sand was getting in between the brake pads. You notice that it's slotted and cross drilled. Well, these slots don't even get near the pad. The slots are doing nothing for this brake. Slots on a car, the reason you have slots is because every time you hit that brake and it's creating heat, all the dust particles collect inside those slots, and as it's spinning, because this is the way the slot works, it swipes the brake dust, takes it out of the pad, and disperses it. That's what a slot's supposed to do, and it's supposed to keep your pads clean, so the next time you hit your brakes, you have all that force back in there. Cross-drilled is there to cool this rotor down. When the rotor is cooled, your pads are going to get cooler, and your brakes are going to be more efficient when they're at operating temperature. So, more of a design thing with Traxxas with the slots don't even work. So, because they're nowhere near the braking surface. Braking surface is literally from here to the edge of the pad. Now I'm going to pop this back together, and then we're going to get into what's going on with this. So even with this pill, this little thing that depresses the brake pad, not in there, there is no clearance between these pads. There is no movement. You know, it's still, you know, there's a tiny bit of resistance, but sand is going to get all around this. Not only is it going to get there, because you have this capture point here, and let me show you the wheel. The wheel has got all this mesh on the inside that's scooping up this sand and just filling this pocket with sand, and sand's just everywhere. And it's piling on the top of the rotor. So if installed, regardless, it's going to collect sand all up in here because of this design. And then there's springs in here to kind of separate. So when this gets depressed, this is going to pull. This is a cantilever system, and it's going to push against just this outer pad. And you can see that's how it's operating. So it's going to push everything, and since this is a floating rotor, this floats. This isn't bolt down. Here's your hex for your wheel. It's got a stop on the backside, but this is a floating rotor. So when you depress the brake pad, this thing is going to push over a little bit, or probably cock, you know, and do it that way. I mean, gas cars have been doing it this way for a long time. As you can see, when this whole system is installed, if I can install it, there we go. That's the way she's going to look on the inside of the wheel. And you can see that all this stuff in here is scooping and throwing it right onto this rotor. If this was all smoothed out, you wouldn't have such a big issue like we're having on this RC car with sand and brakes. And that's just because the inner wheel design, and this gives the wheel strength. And there we go. But that's not my issue. We're going to get into my issue here. And I tore this thing down right away because I wanted to know what was going on with my RC. When I bolted these wheels on out of the box, I couldn't do this to the wheel. It would move and stop. So as you see, the wheel is still dragging. This is the pin that pushes on the pad. So here's what's going on. So here's our hub. You can see right here, I'm spinning this and it stops right away. When I checked these bearings, and I pulled these out and I checked them, the bearing is smooth. This bearing is smooth, really, really smooth. When I put this in, there's a lot of resistance. I mean, a ton of resistance. It doesn't even look like it's spinning this inner sleeve on the outer. It's just kind of slipping on it. But there's a lot of resistance. And the other side was the same way. I was able to take that apart, throw some lube in the bearings. The bearings were very dry, and I got it running like that. I was at the hobby store picking up the parts that I ordered because there is more damage. The one brand new out of the box, we threw the wheels on it and it ran smooth. I should have grabbed a video clip, but theirs rolled pretty much like that did on both sides. Mine never did that. Right out of the box, these bearings were, I don't know if they weren't greased or there's a problem with these bearings, but I did pick up just new bearings to go ahead and replace them out to see if that's the issue. But this bearing is good. This outer bearing is the one that's got all the drag, and so does that one. Now I only had one bearing in stock, and I replaced it, and now I've got it a lot smoother. But for some reason this outer bearing is really, really stiff. Don't know why. So we're going to go ahead and pop in a bearing. I didn't open these up. You see there's a few parts here. I don't even know if these are going to be any better, but these are the Traxxas bearings for the front, 5106A for the outer, 5107A for the inner. So we're going to grab one of these bearings, and I got the black ones, not the blue ones. See, that doesn't have as much, but it's not a super smooth bearing. It's definitely a lot smoother than this is. This bearing is defective. That's what I'm thinking. I don't think it's on all the, well, I know it's not on all of them. I think I think this RC had a bad set of outer bearings. I'm gonna change the inner too. Still feels got some resistance to it. And I'm just showing this. I'm sure not a lot of people are going to watch this. I'm just showing this because this is my experience, and I want to show the damage that this RC suffered. Now mind you, I didn't jump this, I didn't bash it, I just ran it in sand. But we are in California, and most of our sand has rocks. Beach has seashells, all kinds of stuff into the sand. There's even little rocks in the sand out here. The nice thing about the beach is that they do grade it and try to get out. See, and that bearing is smooth. This bearing is junk. I think there was a bearing issue with mine, and maybe I should have called. I just thought, it's got brake pads on it. They're probably rubbing a little bit. It'll break in. It 100% did not break in. So some guys have said, well, when you notice an issue, you should have never ran it. No, that's just not me, because like I said, I've never noticed this issue. But God, that's still stiff. Yeah, see, that has just got some resistance. Let me throw this on and spin it. Yeah, that's a lot better. So as you see, the wheel is still dragging. So I think I had bad outer bearings or bad bearing issue. And now I've got them rolling smooth. Because that wheel would not spin around when I bolted them on. And it wasn't even putting the bolt and tightening it down. It was literally just putting the wheel on and spinning it. They were dragging. I got to figure out how to put all this back together. I know I pulled the pin. Is this the pin? It's got to be this long pin right here. And I'm probably going to end up taking these brakes off and running it next. Yeah, that's way smoother. Running it without the brakes on it. Right now, I'm going to get the RC fixed and put back together the way it should be. And we're going to go rip it one more time in the sand with leaving this little thing out. Because a lot of people are like, well, the owner's manual says to do it. Well, apparently a lot of people are having this issue, and don't build a sand car that you need to disable the brakes in order to rip it. Bent pin. I have a broken upper pin on the right side. The right side I was dealing with a lot of issues. The lower arm and the upper arm were basically both broken. So some people caught it in the video that it was broken. I didn't see it right away. I was just ripping. I was just concentrating on the brakes here. Wasn't really looking at this area. But in editing the video, I caught it as well. Here's the upper pin that was on this side. It had snapped. So this upper arm was loose and the lower arm was loose. The lower arm didn't break the pin. It broke the arm and pulled out of the plastic. That's something that I've seen on the X-Maxes as well. So we're going to get both these arms replaced on this side and put new pins in it. I put a temporary pin that I have the Traxxas captured hinge pin kit, but they don't work on the inners. They only work on the outers. So I threw one in here. Just to have something in there. Where's my green? Here we go. Just to have something in here so that I can continue working on the RC. These are the captured hinge pins that I bought for my X-Max. And I have a ton of X-Max parts. So I'm just trying to show you guys. I've got brake cables and all the parts I broke. Had to order them in. So this upper arm, I'm going to have to pull the shock off as well. That upper screw is smaller. I was shocked that the RC actually broke. I'm going to put these broken pins. This one is not broken, but this is a broken pin. Get the wheel off as well. Did record it on me tearing it down, but trying to figure out exactly what happened, what the issue was. It's hard in a video when you're filming it off the rip, thinking about stuff, because you can point to one thing and it really not be the issue. You really have to be careful when trying to diagnose something new. You don't want to bash a company for something that's just not their fault, or something you're saying that's wrong. So I've learned my lesson years ago about doing that. People take everything to heart. Remember, when you're trying to diagnose something, all these theories go through your head. And that's just you thinking out loud. Remember, they're just theories until you can prove it. So take everything with a grain of salt. I just like to show issues that I'm having. I think that was the upper. That was the shock. So shock, there, this pin was missing. Now this brake cable has got a screw on it. So that's why the part numbers are different on this from the XRT, because the XRT does not have these holes in here for the cable. Now I think they're going to revise that, because remember, these front arms are based off the XRT, but they're not the same, because you need these holes into the plastic, which is also going to make it not as durable as the XRT. But these are literally, you can tell, slotted for the brake holders. So these are not the same as XRTs, just so you guys are aware. Now, are they going to run these for XRTs? They might revise the part number and make it work on both, because they do offer these in all the colors: green, blue, red, whatever. Chrome just has CHRM after the part number, even though the part number is the same. So for this RC, I didn't match it up with the XRT one, but I'm assuming because of this, part number is going to be different. So we're going to get a new arm out, and I wanted to look at this. As you see, it broke the pin and pulled it. This arm is still good, because the pin goes all the way through here, but it snapped the pin right here. And I mean, theoretically I can run this, but I'm going to replace it. With the new part number, they also give you the clips and the holder for the brake cable, which is very nice. I'll probably just throw this in here for now, because that arm is still good. So here's the new pin. Let's see which pin we need. You got to buy the pin kit. It's 10940, and this thing snapped clean off. For not have, now the RC did tumble. It went down onto its nose and did a roll coming down one of the hills, and I think that's what snapped everything, because I really didn't hit anything unless it hit a rock somewhere that was in the sand that I just never saw. So it's one of these medium pins right here. Let's get this other arm out and see if this is the one. Yep, that's forward. So there is a right and left arm on the front, and that's why the package is giving you two. Get this put in here. Let's get this arm done. I'm probably going to get both these arms changed. You guys know how to change arms, and I'll kick the camera on if I see something that's funny. New pin for this one. Like butter. There we go. Shock. Oh, I did mess up. That upper arm's got a screw in the back, which I forgot about. Traxxas thing. There's no stop in the back. You got to put this on. So I got to pull that upper arm off again to put this screw. I was just thinking about it with the lower arm. So I need that screw out of the old one for the back side right here. I don't think I can get to it when the arm's installed, but we'll try. I know the bottom you cannot do this. Ball wrench would be better. There we go. At least I don't have to pull that arm off. Alright, so I got it all back together except we have an issue. So this side, we are good. So that side we're good. This side, still dragging. This side good. You can hear the caliper rattling. This one you hear no caliper. This side has got the slug removed. This side, the slug is still in there. Put the bolt back in, but there literally is no slug on the inside. What I do notice is this brake pad on the rear, the side that the slug hits, is dragging on the caliper. This side, you can see the play. We are good. This side, no play. This back pad is still pushing on the rotor. Why is that? The pad can't go back anymore because there's a stop right there and there. The springs are pushed it out, or have pushed it out. The bolts are back in there. This is pinned. This is all flush. So the only thing I can think of is something's up with this pad. I don't know if the pad is bent, but we're going to pop this out, take a look. Be right back. Alright, so here's how I fixed it. Did the same thing to the other side. The pad was pushed too far out, so all I did was stick a big thick screwdriver in here and bend. You can see how flimsy those pads are. Those aren't steel brackets, and apparently they're not straight. Now you can tell I have clearance. We're going to put it back on and bolt this thing back down, and you're going to see how freely it spins. Now I did this to the other side, and that side has the pin in it, and this side doesn't have the pin. So I think, I don't even know what to think. It had to be a factory issue with all this, with the bearing, with the caliper, with the brakes dragging, and I literally thought they were going to drop in. I don't know if that pin, since I can bend it so easy, those brake pads, I honestly feel that putting this pin in there and this cable adjustment could bend those pads very easily. It's just a bad thing. Bad design all the way around. I think if the pads had stainless steel brackets, or I don't know. Yep. Now we have the slop in the rotor. Just a bad overall design. I think, look at that. I think if, I'm going to pull the pin on this side while I have the wheel off. I think it's a great concept. I think the pads need a better material on the metal part of it. I think they're just too cheap. This does have a washer on it, so just be careful with it. Show you how to take out this pin real quick. Or what I've been calling them is, they look like slugs. Take a pick, pop this out, pull down so that it's out of the way, and then got to tilt the RC in order to get the slug out. There we go. There's our slug. Both front slugs are out. So we're going to put this back in now. And Traxxas says before you run in the sand you have to do this. I think it's silly. That just makes the brakes inoperable. They won't work by pulling these slugs out. Make sure the tires are going the right way. We're going to put this back together, and then we are going to go out and rip this thing tomorrow. So stay tuned for the next video. We're going to go run it again. Same spot, I think. I might take it up to the beach. Might be a better place for it. They say, you know, fine sand versus, you know, what other kind of sand is there? Sand is sand, in my opinion. Now we got free rolling front wheels. So I'm going to get this thing cleaned up. Part number for the lower control arm I didn't show you guys is 10930-CHRM. That is the right side. I think it's 31 or 29 is the left side. I think it's 31 is what I ordered. But I do have another arm coming for this side, and we'll go from there. So I do have all the arms. I do have all the pins. I'm going to take the bearings I pulled apart. We're going to soak them and service them. But it's just a part of a new RC, spare parts. But one thing I wanted to show you, and then I'll get the brake cable when I want the brakes to work. Maybe we'll change out the rear tires and put the brake cables on. I'm going to look into putting some Cal RC product in these cables to get them to slide really smooth. That's another thing I noticed. Brake cables 10957, 22 bucks for 2 cables. Stuff's just expensive. The other thing I picked up is the light kit. So we got the underbody glow kit. Here's the underbody glow kit we're going to get put on. And then here's the Pro Scale Sand Car light kit. $100 light kit. This is going to give you the light up here, and then there's going to be lights hanging off here now, which I think is pretty cool. So we are going to get the light kit installed and then go do a night run. But I'm not going to do that now. I want to make sure that the RC is working good, so, and that it's not going to continue to break when I run it in the sand. Because that's my biggest thing, is that I didn't bash this RC and beat it up, and I caused a lot of damage. So figured I'd get the video out to you guys on this. I'm going to wipe down, clean up the RC, and we are going to take it out and go rip it again. I think it's a really cool RC. I'm really digging the body. I'm really liking the looks of this RC. It just, in my opinion, has to perform. I think it is going to perform. Maybe it was a fluke. Like I said, when I bolted these on, these were stiff right out of the box, and I thought things needed to break in. The one at the hobby store, the wheels actually spin like this. Checked it when I picked up the parts today, and I was like, man, why was mine so tight out of the box? I think those pads were dragging, and I think the outer bearings had an issue. Other than that, she's good to go. We're going to clean up these tires. We're going to clean up the RC. We're going to go back out. We're going to hit some more sand, have some more fun with this RC. Just wanted to keep you guys updated, get this video out. Stay tuned for a running video. Saturday or Sunday it'll drop, and we'll see you guys then. Taking out these slugs, ridiculous. Ridiculous. Bent pads, ridiculous. But that's a part of anything. They're trying to knock these things out. Maybe mine had a defect. I don't think it's all of them. But if you are having that problem, like I said, take the caliper off, grab a big screwdriver, bend your pads back. You're good to go. When we run the brakes again, I'm going to see if those pads bend again. I have a feeling they're going to. They're very easy to bend, especially with the slugs in there. So I think it's a poor design. I think the concept is great. I think better materials need to be used for the pads, possibly the calipers. Not sure. Definitely the cables. But there we go. Leave your comments down below. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll catch you guys on the next video. I was really shocked on all the damage that I had on this RC. And it's still ripped till the end of the day. But that's a Traxxas product for you. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one.